Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were there. I was just reading Winter's Heart. Hey, let's talk about this week, guys. Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike here again with another weekly update. The 1st of February, a crazy, crazy start to a potentially crazy, crazy month. I kind of joked that this is the shortest month of the year, so of course it's the month that I picked 5 books to try to read in during that span. But things are going kind of interesting so far. I feel like I'm ahead of schedule. Before we do that, I got to talk about the Rage of Dragons read-along is coming to a close this Monday, February the 10th. So if you didn't keep up with us, that's too bad. Like I said, you can always go back to the videos I did week 1 through 3 here. I'll put them up here for you guys if you want to kind of go through it. But the thing is you don't have to read along at the same pace as us. You can watch those videos after you finish. I label each one of them. You know, prologue, chapter 2, chapter 3, chapter 7, chapter 8, chapter 12, and then chapter 13 through the epilogue. So you can always, watch those videos after you've read it. And I'll go ahead and let the cat out of the bag. I like the book quite a bit. So I would definitely recommend that you do so. Other things going on the channel, if you don't know by now, and I don't know how, is I am doing a full reading of Brandon Sanderson's release Cosmere so far this week. And so I did, while I already did the review for Elantris, this week I wrapped up the other side of Elantris, which are the short stories, The Hope of Elantris and The Emperor's Soul. I read out of the copy of Arcanum Unbounded. Full review up for that there. Honestly, I think it's the first time I've ever done anything Brandon Sanderson on this channel and it hasn't gotten a lot of traffic. I just want to kind of assume that a lot of people either haven't read it or they just they don't like me talking about spoilers. Now, I have said that what I was going to do is my Why You Should Read segments for the Cosmere. Those would be non-spoiler, but each book review will be full spoiler because most people have read his stuff and they want to hear thoughts in detail on them. So if you guys are looking still to be sold on Cosmere or Brandon Sanderson stuff, I'm just going to tell you, yes, you should read it. I mean, I don't know what else you really want me to tell you about that. I will be doing a Why You Should Read for Mistborn Era 1. I will be doing a Why You Should Read for the Stormlight Archive. So if you guys haven't done those yet and you need some convincing, hey, you can look forward to those things. But like I said, I did talk about those things there. Hope of Elantris I thought was fine, just like Elantris itself. Emperor's Soul I thought was fantastic. One of the better things I've read from Sanderson, and that's saying quite a bit. Left me wanting more. It's been in my head for about 3 to 5 days now, so that's usually a sign of something that left an impression on you, and that it did. So I would highly recommend you guys check out The Emperor's Soul if you haven't. Arcanum Unbounded has plenty of stuff in there, including that whole novella, and I recommend you pick that up. If you don't know by now, besides the Cosmere, my other big project right now is Dresden Files. The new book comes out in July, so I am trying to, this is my first reading of the series, but I'm trying to read 2 per month. Now, I did my review for Summer Night right here the other day. I've reviewed the first 4 now, and I've got about maybe a day's worth left on Death Masks. I'll go ahead and let the cat out of the bag here. This is probably my second favorite book in the series at this point. Grave Peril's been my favorite. This one is so good. I have not been able to really stop. In fact, it's kind of been delaying my reading of Wheel of Time because I keep wanting to go back to this. And like I said, about maybe a day's left. I should finish that probably sometime this evening at the latest, I figure. But yeah, another really, really, really great adventure. I felt like Summer Night was, I mean, I was fine with it. I don't feel like any of these books have been bad to this point. But I think I went into Summer Night with super, super high expectations based off of feedback from personal friends who really, really list that one really highly. And I just thought it was fine. It was good. It was good. But I feel like Death Masks has been kind of the pace that I've been looking for the whole time. And it's really, really good. So unless he really just, shits the bed in the end, I'm pretty sure it's going to be at least my second favorite. I don't know if it can pass Grave Peril at this point. But who knows? I guess you'd say it's also my third project of the year, and that is to finally finish The Wheel of Time. Planning on doing one of those per month leading up to this summer, all the way from Winter's Heart to A Memory of Light. And if I have some downtime, I'm going to try to fit New Spring in there because I do not want. I do want A Memory of Light to be my final lasting impression of this world. But I have been reading Winter's Heart, and I know some of you probably don't like that joke I made at the beginning about snoring through this. I kind of talked about it on the Discord today that, and I've talked about it before with my Path of Daggers review and things like that, is ever since I was reading Eye of the World, I have been told the slog, namely books 9 and 10, are going to be very tough for you, and you might not like them. And here I am on chapter 20, and I'm like, you know what? This is really, really slow, and I'm not really liking it. And I got hit with a lot of, oh, well, you just don't understand it. So I understand, guys, that this is something that people are very overprotective with. This is like me insulting their child. They don't like us newbies coming on here and saying things about their kids or whatever. But I did do my my wish list for Winter's Heart right here. I won't tell you yet if any of those things that I asked for have happened or not. I'll save that for the review. But at about the 55% mark, not too impressed. Now, I do know that everybody says the last quarter of this book is just, you know, fire. So I'm hoping that that is the case, and it can kind of melt away the snow that this thing is piling on me and making me kind of drift through it. I'm just, oh God, so much Elaine. So much Elaine. So that's where I'm at right now. I imagine that I will be finishing that sometime, if not this weekend, then early next week. And then I will kick into Warbreaker and then the next Dresden Files book, which I remember this time is called Blood Rights. So that's my schedule probably for next week. And then I'll be capping off the month, hopefully, with The Outsider by Stephen King so I can watch the HBO series. And that's a King book I haven't read, and I talked about that because that's one that when it came out, I was finishing up something before I was going to read it, and people know I'm a huge Stephen King fan. I guess they assumed I had read it already, and they just jumped on my Twitter with, I can't believe this, and this happened in that book. And I was like, yeah, I haven't read it yet. So that kind of put me off on reading it when it was rather new. But I do want to read it before I watch the HBO series that I've heard really good things about up to this point. I did go shopping a little bit this week. Nothing new. If you look behind me, you know that I always like to add more stuff. And I talked about my new book haul for January right here. And I went ahead and put these in January, even though I technically bought them in February. But I'm trying to get to a point where I'm not going to be doing book hauls anymore because I'm going to slow down. It's like I'm going to have to talk about. But I did pick up a couple of leather-bound collector's editions. Edgar Allan Poe, Bram Stoker, two incredibly ahead of their time authors. I know people think that I use that term a little too loosely, but what I mean by that is there were people that were writing about stuff that a lot of people considered just unfavorable during the time, and they become greater. Their legacy has become greater after their passings. That's the same thing I said with Lovecraft or whatever. But that's what I mean by that, guys. I'm just talking about the fiction. I don't care about what these people did in their personal lives. Good books are good books to me. So if you want someone who's going to give you their political hot take, there are a million channels on YouTube for that. I'm not one of them. That's not why I'm here. I'm here to talk about positive things. I'm here to talk about things with you that I really liked to read. As far as watching, we're still working our way through Vikings Season 6. It's very good. We just kind of got a little sidetracked this week with some real life things. I did happen to watch the pilot for Star Trek Picard, and while I think it was good enough to keep me going, I have a few worries already. And I won't get too into spoilers in case you want to watch that and you haven't yet. I feel like they're trying to do what Disney did with Star Wars in that, hey, here's all that nostalgia stuff that you love, right? And in the meantime, they forget to make you give a damn about any of the new characters. And I feel like that's what they're going to do. Oh, hey, here's Picard. Hey, here's Riker. Hey, here's Data. Hey, here's 7 of 9. But here's this new crew. But yeah, whatever. You just have to like them eventually. But I actually have a theory about what they're going to do with this show because I'm not going to lie. Patrick Stewart is old, man. Look, he's still great. He's still great, but he looks old. And there was a scene where you could tell they were using a stunt double just for one where it was him running upstairs. And I mean, it makes sense. He wasn't exactly young when Next Gen came out. So, they play into that pretty well. But I have a theory that what they're going to do this first season is try to get you attached to this new crew that he's going to put together. He's going to pass away. Not Patrick Stewart, but Picard, fictional character. Picard is going to pass away. and they're going to name this new ship the USS Picard or something like that. And that's why the show is named the way it is. That's my theory, at least right now. And if that's what they're going to do, they better do a lot better at making me care about these new characters. Even though I'm being unfair, the first episode was really about Picard, about some of his demons that he's facing, and I'm stunned that they're tying it into the Kelvin universe. I thought after the remerging of CBS and Viacom, I thought they were kind of doing away with the Kelvin timeline, but apparently not, because they're tying it into that 2009 J.J. Abrams movie, which completely surprised me. So I said that I liked the first season of Discovery, even though it didn't really feel like Star Trek anymore. It felt like what Star Trek should be at this point, I guess, for today's audiences. But I'm not like most Trekkies who like to just complain about everything that isn't the original series. But I felt like the second season of that kind of really went off the rails, as much as I liked Captain Pike. But this, like I said, I'm going to keep watching. I just want to make sure that it's not just going to be another nostalgia trip, and then basically we're just going to do what Disney Star Wars did and be like, oh yeah, all those past characters you love, nobody cares about them. We're just going to get rid of them. Even though you like them, we know you like them, we got you in now. Now we're going to make you care about all these characters. Well, try to make you care about these characters we don't care about. So I hope I'm wrong. I'd like to have good Star Trek on my TV again. A lot of friends who I know are real big Trekkies said they kind of gave them like Voyager or Deep Space Nine vibes. Like, look, I would love another Deep Space Nine. Deep Space Nine, I think, is low-key the best Star Trek series ever. So it is what it is at this point. So that's a really, really high bar. But I'll give it credit for being better than I was expecting. I was really expecting a train wreck in that first episode. And it's good for reasons other than just, hey, cool, it's seeing Picard again. You know, hey, seeing Data again. Seeing things like that. That was pretty cool. So what else? Me and my kid are doing a streamlined MCU rewatch on Disney Plus. And what I mean by streamlined is we took all we're doing is up until Endgame. So everything after Endgame, we don't even count. So what we do, we're taking those, 23 movies, and me and my 7-year-old went through a list, and we said, okay, we can watch that one, we can watch that one, no, we're not going to watch them. Here's the thing, before you get into here, what are you talking about? That was a great movie. I'm letting the 7-year-old decide, okay? I'm not trying to be that dad who controls everything that kids do. I want him to decide what he wants to watch. So he doesn't want to watch Thor 1 and 2. He doesn't want to watch Captain Marvel. He doesn't want to watch the Spider-Man movies, which I said again blows me away because he loves Spider-Man. But he doesn't really care for the MCU Spider-Man very much, if outside of an Avengers movie. But he doesn't like the Spider-Man solo movies, and I think he cut out the Ant-Man movies too. So this is just his. So we've watched Iron Man 1 and 2, which I think people criticize Iron Man 2 quite a bit. Was it as good as the first one? No, but it was a damn good sequel in my opinion. And I feel like Captain America, the First Avenger, very Indiana Jonesy. I enjoyed it quite a bit, and I feel like that's just kind of before the MCU bandwagon filled up, so people always just kind of put it farther down their list. Guys, if you're putting like Captain Marvel ahead of that, I gotta disagree. But he also put Black Panther on there. He loves Black Panther quite a bit. He has like 6 Black Panther shirts. He has the claws. He has the mask, everything. So that one, somehow, that one flew in under the radar for me. I didn't expect him to pick that. I don't know why I say I didn't expect him to pick it. I think it's because he was just trying to do like just the Avengers kind of thing, just the main Avengers. So he said he doesn't even remember Age of Ultron. So this should be fun. But yeah, it's a good time. Looking forward to it. He's never actually seen Iron Man 3. So I have my thoughts and opinions about that. I know that's probably one of the least popular MCU movies, but again, I'm kind of trying to let him run the show, and I'm just there, for support. Trying to be a good dad. Let him choose the things that he likes to do, and there it is. There it is. We also watch DuckTales every morning. The old DuckTales, not the new one, but the old '80s DuckTales. Biggest earworm ever is the theme song to that show. But he watches the episode of that before school every morning, and that's quite a fun time. He's talking about doing Darkwing Duck or Chippendale Rescue Rangers after this. So I'm like, yes, I am on board. So yeah, that's kind of things that makes it fun being a dad, getting to kind of share some of those things that you like when you're a kid, and showing that, hey, they've aged well because, they seem to like them just as much. As far as music, I've been listening to a lot of System of a Down this week. I don't know actually how I think I just had my iPod on shuffle. Yes, I still have an iPod. Have it hooked up to my Alexa, actually, so it plays around the entire house. But System of a Down came up, and I was like, hey, let's listen to some more of that. And I started looking, I was like, you know, I don't listen to a lot of modern radio anymore, so I don't know about what's new, what's going on, anything. And I was just like, you know, surely they have to have a new album by now. 2005 was the last, nope, no new album since 2005. So I was like, oh, that's a bummer. I was hoping to hopefully stumble onto like a couple of albums they've released since then or whatever. But I've had some people ask about my musical taste, man, just about anything you can think of, really. I know a lot of people say that and they don't mean it. But for me, I didn't really become my parents, where you think that all new music is crap, until about a decade ago is when I kind of really fell off on especially pop music now, rock music. Basically, if it's rock and it's got a guitar solo in it, I'm probably in. If it's a voice modulation, drum machines, and yeah, things like that, I'm probably not too into that. So that's just me. Big time hardcore heavy metal fan, old and new. I feel like a lot of metal outside of the States is really good. That's why I mentioned Volbeat before. Nightwish is another band I like a hell of a lot. Firewind is one that I like quite a bit. So there are bands that are more popular overseas than they are in America, and I just feel like kind of that's how metal is treated in general. It's just, it's way more popular, you know, outside of the U.S. than it is here because, well, radio out here is really pussies. So that's all I got to say about it. So that's about it for this week, guys. What are you up to? What are you reading? What are you listening to? What are you playing? What are you watching? Let's talk about it in the comments, guys, and have a great weekend.